Hi, I'm Rhonda.
I'm Angie.
And we are Adventures in Nomadness. What time is it, Ange?
I know it's time to winterize our RV. It's getting cold up here in Alaska. As a matter of fact, it's supposed to get 15 degrees tomorrow. Better protect the RV. What you doing?
Washing the RV. It was way overdue, but every time we take it out, it gets washed with mud. So, you know, and every time we come in our road. So even if we wash it at an RV wash place, bringing it home just makes it completely dirty again, coming down the dusty, dirty road that we live on. So, yeah,
Since we're not going anywhere.
It's a losing battle.
So, but this is our setup for washing. So we have the 30-gallon tank in the back of the truck, and we have a pump that we have plugged in to 12-volt outlet back here, so that works great. And then Ronda's got a spray nozzle here, and so yeah, it works good without having power to be able to wash the RV, and at some point we might even wash the truck. So it's starting to get cold, high 20s, low 30s in the freezing. This might be our very last opportunity to wash it. This will be our last opportunity to wash it before we winterize it and put it to bed for the winter. It is going to get really cold. So far it's only been high 20s. Warming up to 40s during the day, but tomorrow's supposed to potentially get down to 15 degrees overnight. So it is time to winterize our home, which is a little sad because this is kind of the indicator that our nomad life is coming to an end for the next 8 months while we spend the winter in Alaska. We're going to live in here for a little bit longer after we winterize. So after we go through our winterizing process, we'll give you some tips on if you still want to use your RV after you winterize. So for winterizing our RV in Alaska, we'll be facing some pretty extreme temperatures. My first winter, when I moved back the second time, it was 50 below. Now for my Canadian and US friends, minus 40 Celsius is the same as minus 40 Fahrenheit. So it is cold. Last winter it got down to about 30 below for a couple weeks, and who knows, every winter is a little bit different. It has been warming up, so some winters haven't been as cold as winters when I first moved up here. So we are not going to use the blowout method. And if you want to see that method, go to Escape, and I'll put a link below because they did a great video on winterizing. And we're going to go full on with the RV antifreeze. So far what I've done is I have drained all the tanks, and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so if you need some follow along instructions, Escape has really good instructions on their website and also in the owner's manual. But the first thing I'm going to start with is how I'm going to drain the hot water heater. I like to actually turn the hot water on. The pump's not on, but this will relieve any pressure in it right there. So I got the hot on until that drains out, and then I'll double check it outside too. So after relieving the pressure in the hot water tank, I'm going to turn it to bypass mode. So basically in the 21C, our hot water heater is right here, and there are two switches. One's right here behind this post, so it might be a little hard to see, but I'm going to turn it that way. That's the cold, and then the hot water is up here, and those are now in bypass mode. Alright, so now I'm going to go outside and empty the hot water heater. So the reason you want to put those in bypass mode is when you're winterizing, You don't want to have 6 gallons of RV antifreeze going in there. It's just a complete waste. So by putting that in bypass, when you use the pump and stick the antifreeze in there and run it through the system, it will bypass the hot water heater. So let's go empty that out. All right, I'm gonna make sure the pressure is relieved in the hot water tank by doing the pressure relief valve right here, and just had a little bit of water come out. So that's good there. I have a 1 1/16 socket that I'm going to take the anode rod out, and all the water will come spilling out of here. And this is a pretty new rod, so you can see this looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let that drain out for a little bit. While I'm waiting for the hot water heater to drain, I'm going to go ahead and stick some RV antifreeze in the fresh tank. Now this stuff is non-toxic and we don't use it to drink out of anyway, so we'll really have to flush this really well in the spring. But I've got this really cool collapsible funnel that I'm going to use, and
it comes in handy when you have to manually add water to your tank for some reason, or in this case antifreeze.
Antifreeze. So this will work out pretty good here. So I'm only adding more than you probably need to, just because of the extreme temperatures that we can get up here. So I'll probably do like half a gallon. Alright, I'm just gonna stick this under here. I just want to make sure that I did get some antifreeze in here. Alright, it's coming out pink. That's a good sign. That's what I want. The thing I'm going to make sure I do is I'm going to dry this out really good. I'm going to dry this out real good. I'm going to dry this fitting out real good. And I haven't had any problems in the past with an old RV sticking the anode back in during the winter, but it didn't really have the extreme temperatures either. So this had some goo on it, so I'm just going to wipe that off too. This is pretty new, like I said, so I'm gonna Teflon tape, looks really good on it still. The reason I'm drying this out really good, the temperatures we have, I don't want any of this stuff to crack at all. Okay, water heater's ready to go. Alright, so basically the next step is to come to your water pump, and there's a bypass valve right here that goes to a tube. I know, sorry, it's probably a little harder to see on ours because we have this storage bin, this full timers right here. But basically what I'm going to do next is stick this in the RV antifreeze bottle, and Ronda's going to go around and run all the faucets and run it through our system. Alright, so I'm sticking the tube in the antifreeze, and then Ronda's going to run the pump, and we're going to run through all the faucets. So after going around and opening the hot and cold on all the faucets, the kitchen, the bathroom sink, the bathroom shower, and the outside shower, I'm gonna pour a bunch into the gray tank here.
And the toilet.
And the toilet. So let's put them all in the P-traps there.
We need a little in the shower too.
And then I will throw some in the shower and the sink. And for all that, I only used about 2 gallons. So I have 2 extra gallons, but I need to winterize the truck. Okay, when you winterize, we've learned the hard way. A couple of things you really want to make sure you do is not just clean out your fridge, but take some Clorox wipes. I mean, really clean it good, and then leave the door open. Our very first RV as newbies, it was a Springdale, and we cleaned it all out. We stored it on a lot about an hour from our house and left the refrigerator door completely closed. Not a good idea. It was disgusting. So even though it was clean, for whatever reason, whatever bacteria in there develops all these mold spores, and so it was a kind of a grody mess to clean up. Even though I swear to God, I did clean it before we stored it. But really clean out your refrigerator really, really well, and leave the door open. There's a couple of stops I think you can use to actually make sure that those don't close on you. Make sure they're open, they get lots of air. Make sure you got a little ventilation coming through, window cracked or fan cracked. We won't be able to leave the fan cracked in here because of the snow that we'll get on it, and we'll talk about that later. But you know, leave a window cracked. Also, this is going to sound gross, but you know, make sure, same thing as a fridge, make sure your toilet is really clean and has some ventilation there as well, because kind of the same thing. It'll be gross even if you swear that you cleaned it as best as you know how to clean it. The other thing, because we don't know if we're going to be able to keep heat on in here. If we do, it'll be kind of expensive since we're off-grid. It will have to be a propane source other than the furnace, because we don't want to run that all winter. But making sure that any liquids, we haven't moved out yet, so we are going to keep living in here probably for another couple of weeks. And but when we do move out, we will have to make sure that every liquid that could possibly freeze is taken out of here. So look at all your cabinets. A little bit tougher as full-timers because you tend to have things kind of hidden away in little cracks and crevices and corners. But let's go outside because we want to take care of a couple other things out there. Another important thing is we're going to go through this because this is outside, doesn't get any heat obviously from our furnace, and we've got some glass cleaner that doesn't want to be out here at 15 below or 15 above. That's going to be tonight, and some RV wash, and you get the picture. We have various things in here, our wax and our car wash kind of stuff. So any liquids I'm gonna get out of here because I've learned the hard way from living in Alaska that anything that's liquid that can freeze will definitely freeze and expand and break the container that it's in, and then you'll have more of a mess than you wanted to. The next thing, because it's gonna get so cold, I'm gonna do the same thing with the truck. And a lot of you know we have a 30-gallon water tank in the truck, so I'm gonna throw some antifreeze in that too, along with the hose and the pump we have for that. And that'll be good for now, hopefully. The last thing I'm going to do is winterize our 30-gallon tank in the back of the truck. So I've got the pump hooked up, we've got the PEX tubing that goes to the tank that's back there, and then I've got the hose running to the antifreeze. So I'm going to turn the pump on here, plugging it in. That should suck all that out of there, hopefully. Alright, last step in the winterization of our stuff before it gets down to 15 degrees tonight is I'm going through the truck, and it's a good thing. We could have had some exploding blueberry mojito, and this stuff is too good to waste on the inside of the truck. So that's going inside. So I'm just going through the rest. Shower bag, and you know, this has some shampoo and stuff in it. That needs to go in. So everything that's liquid. It's another lesson I've learned. Come back from Costco in town and forgot about a bottle of wine or a beer or something I'd bought, and come out the next day after it being super cold, and it's like crack the bottle and no good anymore at that point. So I'm gonna finish this little process and be done for the day, and maybe have a blueberry mojito. That sounds kind of good. Hey Rhonda.
Yeah?
What time is it?
I don't know.
We practice this. It's time to winterize. It's getting cold in Alaska.